Good morning, afternoon, and evening to all you crypto lovers out there. This is Krypton Calls AMAs, and I'm your host, Paul, joined by my co-host and partner, Sean. We have a very special project today and hope you get some valuable in-depth insight into the upcoming blockchain powerhouse MaxxChain. Stay tuned, as this could be your first opportunity at getting in on the ground floor of a layer 1 blockchain. Let's go. Okay, so guys, let's hear a little bit about yourselves. So I know that you did kind of start off on PalmChain. Could you explain to me what happened there and why you decided to come this route?
Yeah, so I'll start with that there. So KP and myself, I mean, to go a little bit back, you know, him and myself, we've known each other for a couple of years now. We've invested a lot of projects in the BSC space. That's kind of where we started on our DeFi journey, you can say.
Yep.
And came to a point where we found PalmChain, well, back when it was ETH 2.0 on the Ethereum network, back at the end of 2022. So we invested in that project, and we saw them launch their blockchain. And you know, you've seen so many projects promise blockchains and this and that, and we've actually saw one just come out just as quick as they announced it. And we thought it was pretty cool to be part of something growing from the ground floor. And so we decided to stay invested in that. We put in quite a bit of our own dollars into it with a couple of other investors around us. We saw this blockchain and ecosystem thrive in the beginning days. You know, there were a lot of things that were done right and wrong. And, you know, both KP and myself have learned a lot based on the projects we've invested in over the years. And there came a time where there was a huge amount of projects launching on PalmChain on a daily basis. And I personally just decided one day, you know what, let's use this launch pad over here and just launch something. You know, I didn't use a raise or anything like that. I put in $350 of my own funds and started a project with $700 market cap, 350 liquidity, and I launched it anonymously and basically saw it grow up to like 50K. On the way up, I spoke to KP and I'm like, hey, you know, this is actually me, and this is what I put together, and let's just see where it goes. And I renounced the contract, so I couldn't really do much with it. But once I made myself public, you know, I spoke to KP and said, let's run with this. We can actually make a change here and do what we use the stuff that we learned over the last few years to build something special. So we decided to launch a V2. We were able to get back 99% of the liquidity from the holders. And we were able to do another small private sale and relaunch. And with that, we were able to get a staking DApp built and kind of build a whole new ecosystem within PalmChain. And our goal was to help bring more attention to the chain. We had a lot of contacts on the BSC side, and we thought, let's do a cross-chain launch in BSC and ETH and use those tokens to promote PalmChain. In the midst of all that, PalmChain, the founder of PalmChain, decided to pull the plug. He pulled the CEX listing, so there was no more way to on-ramp funds for PalmChain. So we were kind of left in the dust at that point, and KP and myself decided let's pivot here. We have a developer that's working with us who we trusted. And the idea came to, let's take over the chain. It's a proof of work chain. We're able to become the developers if we want to. No one truly owns the chain as long as the miners are running. So we made that decision and tried to speak to the old founder of the chain to say, look, let's you know, if you can help us, give us the treasury. I mean, it's worth nothing at this point, but it gives us the means to kind of keep going. And that was the plan, for us to pick it up and kind of rebrand the chain. But then, you know, there was a lot of animosity there, and things didn't work out as they planned. So we kind of pulled out our wild card and said, you know what, let's just build our own chain from scratch. So that's how MaxxChain was born. And I mean, all this happened within the last 5 weeks. You know, we've done a lot of pivots, done a lot of work. KP and myself, we put our website together. A really robust website. We've been working with a lot of other developers. We've been working with a lot of individuals and groups to get where we are now. And our BSC token's launched, our ETH token is launched, and our mainnet is ready. And we're just about to have our pre-sale for our native chain coin.
Yeah, and it's all happened in a very short period of time as well, because I'm looking here, and the original, which is PoMax, Pomax, that's correct, is it? That was
Yes.
in January 23, so literally
Yes.
6 months ago, yeah. And then it moved to Max, which is February 23. So everything is kind of been all within the space of half a year. So
Yeah.
you guys have been pretty busy, and I imagine you've got a lot of experience from the ups and downs and hardships in that time. What have you actually learned yourselves, looking at other mistakes people have done, let's say yourselves and other people?
Yeah, I mean, I can jump in there with that. I mean, as Nyan alluded to, we've known each other for quite some time here. Being co-investing in the space on the BSC side on several projects that we were part of, and some of them were really fantastic projects with good teams behind them. That we felt that they exhibited really good managerial skill sets, but maybe fell through because they didn't do other things right or had enough funds to promote their project in a certain way. But we also saw great projects that had great potential, but did not have the right secret sauce behind the actual team itself and how to actually communicate with with your community and being transparent and ensuring that your deliverables are met on time, and if they're not met on time, how to express that information to your community that look, there is a short delay and so forth. However, we're still mitigating certain issues or whatever it is, right? In the end of the day, I think it's not so much what we have learned from other projects, but it's just probably our background with regards to our real world experience.
Hmm.
I myself work for one of the largest logistics companies in the United States. I've been part of this company for about a decade when it was just roughly a 30 million in revenue annually company with about 30 employees. Today, we're a $2 billion company. I was kind of an important part of that growth, as well as also on the front lines of that growth, along with my accounts and also the business development that I brought to the table and the organizational development of putting certain teams together to meet certain expectations, as well as also demands that big time customers would have engaging with a smaller company and jumping
Hmm.
on board. So, fast forward to today, I lead a team of about 15 people with an account basis of a 50 million in revenue annually. I have people that report to me. I have people that, I've empowered to positions and help them identify their skill sets and position them on the team in a certain way to perform to the best of their ability. So, that managerial experience is very much well transferred over to how we're actually approaching this project. You said a lot of stuff has happened in a very short amount of time, right? But
Hmm.
it's happened because Anayan also has that type of background, and he can speak to what his background is. But we've brought that experience to the table in order of us identifying all the different facets and pockets of what it would require to put a full-fledged blockchain on from scratch, and bring it to the forefront and ready for actual deployment. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen just by one individual. It happens by multiple stakeholders, external stakeholders within the space, that we require buy-in from, as well as also fantastic developers that actually could work diligently, fast, and also efficiently, and also us doing our due diligence and ensuring it's coming at a fair, efficient cost. So
Hmm.
I think that's pretty much where our experience really did step in, managing this project to the extent of where it is right now in such a short period of time. So
Yeah.
along with our background in being in crypto and investing and so forth. So it's all gelled together to that respect. And obviously, Nine can tell you a bit about his background. So at least people understand, what type of team is behind this project.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely good to hear a team that has real world experience that they can bring in and apply to their project in crypto. It gives a lot of confidence. So if you want to go ahead there, Ryan, and talk about your
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a certified professional public accountant here in Canada. So I have my CPA designation. I've had it for a whole lot of years now. I can't even tell you the number, and I've been working professionally for over 12 years now. I work for one of the largest corporations here in Canada, and I help oversee a monthly payroll of almost $100 million. So that experience I've gained over the years and all the different teams that I've helped manage and teams that I've been a part of. I mean, I bring that managerial experience as well. So, that experience tied with what KP has brought to the table, it's allowed us to get where we are. We're able to kind of look at everything a managerial perspective, as it should be. We're treating this as a business. In terms of dollars spend, we've built what we have with very minimal funding. I really doubt there are too many projects out there that could have done what we've done with the dollars we've had. We spend every dollar frugally, and even if we were to, find ourselves with a huge amount of funds to push us forward, I'm still going to be sure to make use of every penny from every dollar.
Absolutely. And just in terms of the blockchain itself, so proof of work, I guess maybe some of the audience members might know much about that, but could you explain what proof of work is and why it's so important, say, over proof of stake or anything else?
Right. So yeah, I mean, obviously there is always a choice, right? With proof of work versus proof of stake, Nine and myself have been actually invested in many projects that were early blockchain projects. That started off on the BSC side. Almost every single one of them was a proof of stake concept. Obviously, proof of stake, is utilized by taking the largest holders base from the project and having them stake towards validating the transactions online. Obviously, the efficiency and the speed is definitely, more of the advantageous reason of why taking proof of stake. But obviously, we've also known that proof of stake, seems to kind of fall a little bit more on that area of it being a security. With regards to how it may be visibly seen from a regulations perspective. For me, I've been in the space, right, since 2016, and Bitcoin was kind of like my first, all-in player. And what I loved about it was the proof of work concept, and the decentralized aspect of the entire of what it's all about. So, I mean, the decentralization was something that was, I feel like, very important. And I feel like with all the different other consensus that kind of like emerged in the last couple of years because of the competition, right? Everybody's trying to compete now. Like, okay, well, let's go to proof of stake because obviously proof of work, you're going to have issues with congestion, you're going to have issues with traffic and high gas fees and so forth. So let's solve that problem. But now we're going to go ahead and provide transaction per speed, times, and then you have proof of, authority. Which is even more of a centralized state of consensus. So I just felt like proof of work brings it back to the actual reason of what crypto was really emerged.
Yeah, the core.
Why crypto? Yeah, the core of why it came out, right? I feel like the sense of decentralization is lacking nowadays in the space. I feel like, with all the figures and issues that we've had in the past with the news and, the exchanges and that have risen and fallen, and what we've also seen today with some of the news that's been coming out in the space with regards to the SEC and Binance and Coinbase, and in the end of the day, I feel like the least amount of meddling that you can do as let's say a centralized figure within something that you're building, the better. So I mean, even though Nine and myself are building this blockchain, we are merely just the initiating core development team to provide the architecture and the infrastructure that the chain would require to get on its feet, right? That being a swap, that being a block explorer, that being some, options like pools and farms for people to be able to, take advantage of a actual full-fledged launch pad that gives you the ability for projects to actually get launched and stealth launched, and also mints to happen, and NFT collections, liquidity locks and all that. But I mean, in the end of the day, that's just the initial offering.
Yeah,
That's being brought
it's through
by the
all
Max
in one. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Once the chain goes live and the mainnet goes live, being that it's proof of work, it means that the validation of transactions on chain are going to be happening by miners, and those miners are located globally, between a combination of whether you're a solo miner somewhere over in Europe or in Africa or in Australia or in China or over in the US, or if you're partaking in a mining pool, which also that might be, who knows where that mining pool actually resides in. So it's all about bringing that computational power together, and having everybody hook into the network to provide that hash rate and that security that the network will require. Also, the validation of transaction speed. Now, obviously the arguments about us being a proof of work and will it lag and will there be longer times for transactions to be validated? Well, initially, no. Gas fees are going to be fractions of a penny, probably fractions of a power coin, to believe it or not. and transactions are going to be rather fast. And that's just because in the infancy of the chain, you know, there won't be as much traffic. Now, congestion and traffic issues and high gas fees, yes, that's probably will be an issue at some point as we scale, and the scalability issue of a proof of work consensus becomes an issue. But that means that we may have to be, you know, the size of Ethereum to have that problem, which
you.
I will not say no to that problem, right? If we end up growing that much. But initially, you know, I feel like initially we really want to, you know, we position this chain to be the people's chain. We want to ensure that there's the least amount of interference from us as dictating what happens on chain.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to provide a good infrastructure. We want to focus on education more than anything, because I feel that lacks in the space. I feel like a lot of new people that come into the space lack the education of how to set up a wallet, how to do your own research, how to ensure that you're protected, how to ensure that you run a contract or a token sniffer, and what to look for. And we want to be able to provide those tools available to everybody on chain, and help guide and educate individuals that decide to come in and navigate the space and make good choices. So that's our role. Yeah. That's our role. You know, our role is not to inhibit a free market. We believe that we want it to be a free market in the end of the day. So more better than doing that with a decentralized space.
Yeah, and even just talking about the decentralized aspect of it, I assume you've heard of, you know, what's going on in Hong Kong now at the moment, and their kind of partnership, I guess, with the United Arab Emirates, and also, so basically on June 1st, you know, their regulations went live. You know, even if they're not going to take much effect for a while. And of course, you have the MiCA regulations with the EU, which are going to come into force in mid-2024. Now, those regulations, you know, they are going to be more in favor of centralized entities. How do you think these things could possibly affect you? Because there is a situation where if any European basically buys your product, which they will, that you're basically going to be under the regulation of the EU. That's the way it's written. How are you going to approach that? How are you going to deal with this situation, all these regulations?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want to comply with any regulations that do come knocking on our door. And, you know, we will have to bolster up our legal, our legal background with regards to the support that we require there to ensure that, you know, we're not on treacherous waters with anybody. But in the end of the day, you know, if we have individuals from Europe that are engaging in with our ecosystem, I mean, we aren't really at fault. I mean, we can't stop anybody from deciding to come into a decentralized space and how they're going to navigate, right? I'd like to see a little bit more of that regulation and how it's written with regards to where does the actual liability fall under? Does it really fall under us, or does it fall under the actual individual investor? And is the individual investor the one that needs to be more complying than the actual entity itself? So obviously,
you would assume it was the investor at least, but the way they've written it, because they're like a nanny state of essentially. So the way they've written it, it is pretty much on the company. Even if the company is outside the EU, the fact that anyone in the EU buys it, they are now under EU regulations in terms of their product, which is, it's wild. You don't see that very often with anything else, you know, what they're doing with crypto. Yeah, so it's, you know, I'm in favor of a bit of regulation, but I know that some of these guys are going to push it too hard, and, you know, every year they're going to add something new in. So, you know, it's good in certain aspects, but the whole nanny state type thing where they're trying to overlook after investors, where realistically people in crypto should just be teaching investors how to do it. You know, and that, you know, that's kind of essentially what you said a while ago. You know, it's something me and Sean look to do as well with our videos on decoding DeFi. But anyway, moving on from that, and it's only a minor question, but some people are interested, and obviously it can vary. But the TPS, you know, it's something people always seem to ask, you know, transactions per second. Do you have any idea what that is yet? Or, you know, is that even really too relevant to you?
I wouldn't say it's very relevant, and I don't know if I would have a exact number with it, because it probably has to do with hash rate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that hash rate is it's not a fixed hash rate. It's variable, and you don't know when that is going to be low or high. So In our previous experience with being on the Palm chain, because it is, with regards to they were proof of work, so we're proof of work. It's going to be relatively similar with regards to how the transaction speeds took place on there. Our blocks mined per our 5 blocks and rewards per 15 seconds. When we were engaging as investors on Palm chain and transferring the coin around or buying or engaging in buying and trading, I mean, we did not feel like there was any downtime. Within a few seconds, we were pretty much like our transaction was pretty much confirmed.
Yeah, negligible.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to see any significant difference in the beginning. And like I said, I think congestion would be an issue if we have 1 million users on chain and then there's another 10,000 projects. Yeah, probably we may have to address that situation at that point. But as you know, crypto changes every hour, every day. Something new that makes you pivot. I think it's more about how fast can you pivot and adapt, and I think that's what Nine are really good at with what we've done through our journey so far. We've really adapted and pivoted in such a way with regards with what's been thrown at us, and we would do the same and operate the same way in the future.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Now, in relation to your product itself, the core, the token, the coin. So you have Max BSC and you have Max ETH, and you're bringing power online soon. So I guess you've done the pre-sales already for the first two, for the two the Max BSC and the Max ETH. So could you maybe tell us a little bit about the pre-sales for those two, how they went? Just give me some details about those.
Yeah, no, of course I can jump in there. So for the BSC side, we did do a pink sale pre-sale. We did a fair launch. So it was a 50 BNB soft cap. We ended up raising 168 BNB for the BSC pre-sale. 51% of that went to liquidity and after fees, and we did receive about 44% of it, for which most of it went to development costs for the blockchain. Because at that point, when the BSC pre-sales started, we were still a project on Palm chain. So in between, while that pre-sale was going on, is when everything started in terms of us taking over the chain and then also deciding for us to pivot and begin our own blockchain. So there was a lot of stuff going on in the background and a lot of discussions going on with our developers at that point. So when the BSC token launched, we realized, okay, well, if we're going to go pursue this, we're going to have to allocate funds for that. And so that's exactly what we did. And we went to build our website, which we thought was a perfect first step for us, because the website is our footprint. We believe that's a good intro point for anybody coming in to really see what type of feeling we're trying to give for our users and the projects that are coming to chain. So we did launch. I think it was at about $180,000 market cap. And we did see a decline post-launch, and since then, I mean, if you take a look at our charts now, the chart's been holding up really well. We're hitting an all-time high right now, and we've burned quite a bit of supply. I think we have about we minted with 2 billion tokens, and the reason being, it was mainly due for the bridge. When we were on Palm chain, we weren't sure if the bridge would need us to have mint and burn function, or whether or not we need to input tokens into the bridge. So our main thought was to have a billion in circulating supply and have the other billion as a locked amount just in case. But when we decided to go our own way, our bridge is going to be a mint and burn function. So we decided to burn all those tokens. So 1.3 billion tokens have been burnt. I'm not sure the exact number, of course, off the top of my head, but we have about 700 million currently in circulation. I think 500 million KP, correct me if I'm wrong, is actually currently staked for rewards. Yeah. So that's showing the real strength of the tokens right now. So that's pretty much where we're sitting at right now with the BSC side in terms of that raise and launch and how things are going now. On the Ethereum side, our plan was to slowly roll out that launch not long after the BSC launch to kind of get that side going as well. And we took a different approach in terms of a pre-sale. We determined, okay, let's do a soft and hard cap for this one. We did that on pink sale as well, which could have been a good or bad decision. I don't know. No one can really know for sure. And and it really fell at the time when Pepe just came out and really blew the water in terms of gas fees on the Ethereum network all over again. So we had a tough time with that pre-sale. We didn't hit our soft cap for that. So then we immediately went back to the table and said, you know what, we have, we're going to go to some individuals close to us. We have a lot of good investors that have really held the floor with us since the Palm Chain days. And a lot of them helped us to raise a small amount for private sale. And we put, I think, 90% of the amounts raised into liquidity for the ETH token. And we just pretty much self-launched that one. That one is well launched actually at about a 30K market cap, and within minutes it shot up to over 650K or something like that. And then of course, people are seeing some high returns, so that shot down. And I think now we're just sitting around 120 or 130K market cap for that one. But both charts are looking a lot more healthy now, and you're seeing some good consolidation, some good amount of people staking their tokens there. We could talk a little bit more about what staking rewards are and how all of this ties into MaxxChain as well.
I'm going to come back to power in a while, but in relation to the BSC and ETH side, are you seeing people doing a bit of arbitrage between the two, trying to gain advantage?
Right now, we haven't opened the bridge, and that's purposely done for now because we want to launch the chain, and then when we launch the chain, of course, we're going to launch the Max token on Power chain on MaxxChain, and that's going to be paired with Power. Once all three tokens are launched, we're going to be opening up the bridge not too long right afterwards. So then that's going to open up the arbitrage opportunities. So I think right now people are kind of playing the sides right now on the BSC because of the gas. I mean, the ETH side, unless you're playing with big dollar amounts, the gas is really, it's quite expensive for certain individuals. But I think once we get closer to the launch on MaxxChain, I think we'll see a lot more activity there to kind of meet the market caps between the two sides. And then I'm really interested to see how things play out because there's going to be a lot of people that are staking are going to continue to earn through the volume on all three sides. And people that want to take advantage of the gains and losses on opposite chains will be able to do that as well. And then all that is still going to feed into the ecosystem because we're going to be collecting fees through the bridge. We collect 1% tax on sells on all three tokens. So we'll be able to feed that back into the chain as well. So we've structured this in a way that's really going to, it's a true ecosystem in a sense that, people will continue to be able to make money. People will continue to earn rewards while the chain continues to receive revenue.
Okay. And in relation to the taxes there as well. So I see on the buy tax, you have a 3% and on the sell, you have a 6%. Now, does that apply to everything or is it just to, say, the Max tokens themselves?
It's just that it's going to be on the trio of Max tokens. So on Ethereum, BSC, and MaxxChain, the buy tax for all three is 3%, and 3% for each of the tokens is going to go directly to the staking rewards. The staking contracts, the staking mechanism for all three is not your traditional staking platform. A lot of tokens that come out with staking platforms, in reality, it's just a dilution of your supply. Projects hold back a certain amount of tokens just to stick in the pools, and people are earning those, but really in the end it's a little bit more of a dilution and they end up selling it and so on and so forth. But what we did was kind of combine the staking platform with a reflection token in a sense, and that's why their taxes are there. But the beauty in it is that on the BSC and ETH sides, we'll be collecting those taxes in BNB and ETH, and in staking rewards will be in Power Coin, the native coin for MaxxChain. So we'll be able to take those staking taxes, pull those and transfer those to the CEX and actually purchase Power. So it's going to constantly provide a stream of buys on our CEX for Power, and then that'll be given as rewards to the holders on the BSC and ETH sides. They just jump into the DApp, switch their network from BSC or ETH to MaxxChain, and then they can collect their rewards. So we're instantly creating new holders, creating buy pressure, and marketing to both chains at the same time.
Great. And just before I jump onto the utilities, because there is a lot of utilities, I had to look through them. I just saw a statement, designed to bring real world usage. So what do you refer to when you say real world usage?
KP, I'll let you touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something that we have yet, kind of like rolled out to
Mm.
the community with regards to what our real world use case would be. I think if you look at any of the top blockchains right now in the market, you will see that it's not just all about the DeFi and all about the projects that are launching on chain that are adding value and so forth. You'll see that there's engagement with actual real world businesses to try to bring blockchain technology and whatever it is that they have with regards to, their actual blockchain and how it can be integrated within, let's say, banking or insurance or, payment systems and so forth, right?
Mm.
So, we have a use case that we have been working on. Nine and I, the background in terms of our real world backgrounds for the companies that we work with are very much geared in supply chain. And particularly within logistics and the whole model of that industry itself with regards to how archaic it is on the process, on the processes that are being utilized between all the different stakeholders to get shipments and goods across the United States and into people's hands and so forth. And we've identified how a blockchain could completely turn the entire industry upside down, even to the point where certain financial services within that sector that are actually money grabbing and preying on the smaller companies that engage within that space could really, I wouldn't say put them out of business, but it could really actually provide some serious competition. And at the same time, with the peer-to-peer transaction process, be able to provide small companies that are stricken by cash flow, almost instant cash flow with regards to providing services for shipment of goods being shipped and delivered. But take it a step further there, blockchain technology with regards to the fact that it's transparent, immutable, permissionless, and all that stuff. It would actually provide a place where all stakeholders, that let's say touch a shipment from a corporation to a manufacturer to a trucking company to a logistics arm that aids in that actual aspect of service, would allow everybody to be able to, see things on chain with regards to proof of delivery and documentation that is accurate and, not fraudulent, because there's a lot of that does go on in the space as well. So we do have a use case that is tied to a specific industry within the world. That industry is within the supply chain. I know there is VeChain that has been around for a long time, but their intent of how they wanted to integrate blockchain technology was on a very much larger scale. And I think one of the reasons why we've not seen crypto and blockchain technology really fully adopted is because I think people are trying to institute the actual technology to change on a very global scale. And I think that change is very slow and very, it's crawling at a very slow pace, because you're talking about taking vast majorities of an industry and completely flipping it on its lid, right? Where with regards to what we're trying to probably institute, it's going to be a little bit more of an entry point into a smaller subsector of the actual supply chain, and do testing with smaller organizations that may see value where they want to try to save money initially, and work from their way, work up from there. But including the actual connections that we have with the companies that we both work with. There's stakeholders within the organizations that we work with that, are maybe very interested in what we may have to offer. So there is a real world use case behind this entire endeavor of this chain that we're putting together. A lot more than just, let's say, the fact that we are offering a platform for people and for projects and developers to come on chain. But you know what? It would be pretty damn cool if one day I wake up and there's a chain that's available that is for the people and everybody's building cool stuff on it. And then maybe once in a while comes a project that says, hey, you know what? If you guys are integrating some kind of world use case with blockchain technology and seamless payment transactions between this stakeholder and stakeholder in that industry, and hey, we're going to create a DApp or something that's going to actually help with that. I mean, that's what a blockchain is all about, providing that ability for competition, because competition breeds innovation. And I think that more than anything, that also creates value and also increases the demand for wanting to engage within this ecosystem that we're building.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's a very, very impressive idea. Yeah.
I was going to say, KP touched on a great point there. I want to see, we're going to come out with a whole range of on-chain solutions as of day one. But, my goal is to see competing utilities for every single one of them. I want to
Yeah,
see other developers come and create, and I want people to come in and have the options in front of them to choose whatever they like. There might be some that have certain killer features that others don't have, and competition is great. That just means things are going
absolutely.
well.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
I
Competition
would
breeds
absolutely love to
innovation.
see that. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's
Yeah.
absolutely
I
brilliant
mean,
here.
a great example is our swap, right? So we will have a swap, right? Our max swap will be available, which will be the primary swap that's tied into our max ploy, which is the launch pad. So any project that goes there will be able to do a pre-sale and so forth, and then lock liquidity. And obviously you'll need to use our swap for the pair and use your power to swap in and out whatever project decides to launch on there, right? But we just engage into the collaborative agreement with Vault Finance, which they provide a very different type of swap, a swap that actually also is very valuable to certain projects that perhaps may be heavy on their smart contract with certain taxes and rewards or reflections and whatever it is, and it helps actually eliminate the actual cells on a chart for a project.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
we won, and that was a very interesting and very important collaborative agreement that we got into, because our job as blockchain overseers is to provide options and provide freedom for developers and projects to choose as they see fit for what makes sense for their own specific project. If they want to just be a specific project that says, I don't want to be so, my depth of my project is very, on the surface, I just want to be able to stealth launch it. Okay, great. Go to max ploy, and it'll be an easy 1, 2, 3 step process to get a contract out of there and just.
Sorry, I think we just lost the sound there.
Yeah, I think he's getting a
Um,
phone call.
okay,
KP, can you hear us?
okay. Are you back?
Are you back? No,
Okay.
can't hear you.
I can't hear you at the moment anyway. Okay. So just jumping into utility, obviously you touched on a few bits there. Just in relation to the Max Explorer, which is your own Explorer, that's obviously essential with a blockchain. And also you have the Max Swap. Could you go into a little more depth about Max Swap itself? And I'd love to, in a while, after that, just come back and talk about Vault Finance Innovation, because myself and Sean are very close with that project. We love what they're doing, and I'd love to discuss it more with you. But just in relation to the Max Swap, can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, it's just your simple swap. I mean, it's gonna be the one that we're using, of course, for all the projects that are listed on chain. Projects that launch, they'll be able to create their LP pairings and launch on directly on through the Max Swap, and there'll also be a section for the pools, Max Pools, Max Farms. So users will be able to come in and contribute, whether or not they're buying into projects, that's up to them, and then they can also contribute to LP pairings, earn on that, and then use all those LP pairings and stake them to earn even more through the farms. So we're hoping projects will be engaged in all three fronts there. And then in terms of LP locking, it's something that we're talking to our dev about right now, but we do have other options with Max Ploy. So we're not trying to recreate the wheel in every aspect, and that's one of the things that we were trying to do when we started this. Like I said, we've been very frugal with every dollar we spent. So there's no need to spend excess dollars when things are right there. We've noticed, from the previous chain, there are a lot of developers that built some amazing utilities, and they went unnoticed. So, we went to each of these developers and spoke to them about their utilities to bring it onto MaxxChain and say, hey, look, you've built a great swap. Let's put this up in front and center. And you'll get the credit for that. You built a great launchpad. Let's put that up front and center and put that as a premier launchpad on MaxxChain, and you guys will get the credit for that. So we did that with several projects here, and with the swap. I mean, it's something basic right now to get us going. There are plans to upgrade it and make it more of a full-fledged DEX, as you can call it, as we move forward. But for us to move forward, we think that this was a good MVP in a sense, and then Like I said, we've already had some discussions with their developer in terms of upgrades, which we'll get to, once we're past launch.
Absolutely. This might actually be a good time to share your screen just to maybe showcase your website. And when we're actually talking about these utilities, maybe you'd be able to, give people a sample of what they look like before they go to the website themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. KP, are you back with us?
I am back with you, and somebody made a phone call and always does that weird thing on Telegram, but no, we're good to go.
Yeah.
You guys hear me?
That's what I assumed. All right, so
Okay.
I'll just start sharing here. So basically, our website here, one of the things that you'll see right off the bat is that we wanted to give it a look and feel of, a top tier blockchain. We didn't want to have it have the same type of look and feel of a lot of other token projects there. And I'm not going to, not that I'm knocking on other projects, but we wanted to give it a very business professional feel. And I think, what we were able to put together with the website developers came out pretty well in terms of content design. All of this you see here was put together, I think, in about 9 or 10 days.
Excellent. Yeah.
So just touching on the main page here, we have a splash page here, and then these are the items that we're able to interchange as needed. And right now, we're putting focus on our pre-sale for power.
Of course.
That's coming up very soon, and I'm sure we'll touch upon that a little bit later.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then a couple of the other things that people might want to jump into when they do come in, Blockchain Explorer, a link to our Telegram group for people to get to the community, discover our Max tokens. A lot of people do find get confused, and there's so much to learn here. They'll get confused between the chain, the power coin, and the Max token. So we always try to advise people, take a good look at the website, take a look at the white papers, and it's very informative. There's a lot of stuff there, but it's very detailed. So as we go down, we have a little bit of a splash video here with some overall details, high level details on the ecosystem that we have here. One thing that we're very proud of, I guess you can say, is this little dashboard here, where we have different tabs, and this is stuff that'll be interchangeable as we move forward, and it allows us to not only highlight the utilities that we have on chain for ourselves, but we'll be able to highlight the utilities and developing items that other projects bring to the chain. Now, of course, for us to put that forward, these projects would need to have, go through a certain vetting process. So we do have a process called Max Verify. I'm not sure it's here. It's in our developer section.
Oh, yeah. I heard of this one as well. Yeah. That's very interesting. So, go ahead about that. Yeah.
We made a partnership with Cogino's group, and basically they're going to be offering KYC and audit services for projects on chain. So, for projects that would want to have that type of spotlight, of course, we would have to have that due diligence done. And I'll say it right here, right now, we're not going to be the ones that are coming in and saying, 100% rug proof and 100% safe and this and that. You know what? This is crypto. No matter what, anything can happen at any time. All we can do is advise the community, the users, to do your due diligence and use the tools that we have to help make those decisions, because there are tools out there to help you. So, for example, we have our Max Explorer, Max Swap, which we spoke about already. We have our Max Bridge, which is the bridge that's developed and ready that'll be able to be used to move Max between BSC, ETH, and MaxxChain. That bridge would also be used by projects that would like to use it to move their tokens between chains. So we are in talks with some projects on BSC, for example, to have them cross launch on MaxxChain, and then they'll be able to use the bridge if they like as well, and create arbitrage opportunities for themselves as well. So we're excited about that one, and that's something that's going to help bring revenue as well to the chain and help feed back to the ecosystem. Max pools, what I touched on before. I can actually open these up to just give you a quick little look at this. I might need to share.
Oh yeah, because it jumps to a different screen.
It jumps to a different screen here.
Yeah.
So just give me a second here, and
that's perfect. Yeah.
Window. So I'll just share.
So for people who aren't, they don't really understand what an explorer is. If you've ever bought and you're traded on, say, Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain, you would have maybe come across the BSC version or the ETH version, and it will basically give you a list of all your transactions, everything that's come through your wallet. Literally everything that has to do with your wallet. It's all in there. You can see everything basically from other people's wallets too, obviously without knowing who it is. But here we go.
Exactly.
Right.
So here, oh, sorry, KP, I'll let you go on here.
Yeah, I mean, it's also important, for people to be able to download their CSV files, for when tax season comes and stuff like that for all their transactions. But yeah, I mean, obviously this is built on Block Scout. So it's, it's not the equivalent of a BSC scan or Ethereum scan. That is a bit of more of an upgraded version, which we will actually upgrade this Explorer to a more robust version that mimics Etherscan or BSC scan. For now, this will do, though. It still is very user-friendly. It still provides all the necessary data with regards to transactions flowing in and out and all the data that is on-chain. It still provides a list of, all the holders of power on-chain, as well as also there'll be a list of all the projects that are on-chain as well. So, it's a very seamless Explorer, and, we're happy with it. We're happy that it's branded nicely for us. And, we've done a pretty good job across pretty much all of our utilities to be branded, with regards to Max, as well as the swap, the pools, the farms, even the bridge. Let's see here. If you want to go to the bridge, you can just pull that up. Very easy to use. Swap from MaxxChain over to Binance, choose your token, set amounts and stuff like that. But yeah, as Nyan alluded to, this platform here, will also be an area for projects to showcase. So, you'll see further down that Novation's already been put on it. And, even though it's not yet applicable, we are working with them behind the scenes for them to start integrating power into being, a part of the Celo swap that it will be offering on chain. We will have other projects like Quickie Tools is more of a token sniffer and a very cool tool itself. Where you can actually go and they will integrate power. If you go to Scanner for Quickie Tools, it should be under Scanner. Yep, you can just put in your paste a token contract in there, choose which blockchain that it's going to be on, and it will pop in a bunch of information with regards to the functionalities behind the actual smart contract, certain warnings, how many warnings are at high risk, how many warnings at medium risk, and so forth. And it will do all that information, and it will tell you whether liquidity is actually locked. It'll tell you all the cool, very, very easy to use platform there that a certain developer from Palm Chain had developed. And, we asked them like, hey, will we be able to showcase this on chain for us? And he says, yeah, I'll integrate you guys into it. So your users can actually access this. And, it provides also exposure for them. So we feel like it's a two-way street. Any engagement that we actually, dive into, whether it was with Vault or even with Dive Wallet that are going to integrate PowerCoin into their wallet so nobody has to use a custom network and include the RPC details there and go into settings, which might be a little bit even more, complicated for somebody that's brand new. I mean, anything and everything that we engage with, is a two-way street. We want the projects that are spotlighted to benefit from our chain, but we also want our chain to benefit from the value that they bring to it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that looks great, and it's great to see that you actually have that there on your main page, your website page, because generally speaking, people don't know about these type of websites where you can do token sniffer stuff like that, all them type ones. A lot of people don't actually even know about those, so they kind of blindly ramble into projects without really knowing what the story with it is. So it's great that you have that there. In relation to the farms, staking, pools, if you just want to give a quick run through of the differences of each of them and what they do.
Yeah, so for the pools, I think there's might be work going on right now, which is why the links aren't working right now.
That's fine, yeah.
So basically, I mean, the pools, people will be able to go in and, if they're holding tokens for whatever, let's say they're holding Max tokens on Power and they want to pair it with, they want to add to the LP there, they can pair it with PowerCoin and add to the LP. Now, all of a sudden, they'll be able to collect a percentage, based on the trading because they're adding to LP. So that's what's important. That's what's really cool about pools. And I think, myself, when I first started, I was really, lost with what to do. When you go to PancakeSwap, for example, you're going to see all these pools and farms and like, what does this do? What does that do? So, we have that here, and we're going to have guides associated to each of them, as you could see here. And we'll touch on the knowledge base, and you'll see how, extensive we plan to make it. And it's already extensive as it is, and we plan to let it grow as much as we can. And like KP alluded to earlier, we want to educate the population. We want this to be an all-in-one solution for people to come to this website at any skill level and really learn something and be able to get to where they want to go. So if they come in here and say, oh, what's a pool? They can click on the guides, they can go to the knowledge base and find, step-by-step details as to what it does. And we also plan to have videos. So we have a guy that does videos. So we're going to get videos done for each of these as well. So it's a lot of work, but we're slowly putting it all together. And, I think it's never going to be a finished product. We're always going to be introducing new things and changing things up. And, crypto is never the same from one week to the next. So we're always going to be adapting as we move forward. Farms, Max Farms, it's the same sort of concept as the pools, except now you're taking the LP pairings and you're able to stake them and generate even more rewards. So it strengthens the tokens that you're creating LP pairings for, which is always a good thing for those projects, and it helps put a little bit extra rewards in your pocket.
Yeah. And okay, so this Lotto Max thing, what's this about?
Yeah. So the Max utility, we're calling them the Max utility tokens. So we have the trio of Max tokens, and they're initially, prior to us actually building a chain, we had our set utilities for them. So one was a staking platform, which I alluded to earlier. Lotto Max was the second utility that we were going to come out with, in which it works similar to Powerball in the States, and coincidentally, it's called Lotto Max in Canada here, where you have a set amount of numbers. You'll have 30 numbers. You pick 3 numbers, and if you get all 3 numbers match to the drawing, you win the pool. So every week there's going to be a weekly guaranteed prize pool. There's going to be a guaranteed winner every week, and the pool is filled based off of 1% of the sell tax from all 3 tokens, and also the purchase price for the tickets themselves. I don't think we've finalized the price for the tickets, but it'll probably be like $2 a ticket, and basically it's all going to be used to purchase Max token. That's going to be adding to the volume, which of course always goes back to the stakers. There's going to be a burn function within that as well, so that a percentage of the weekly winnings goes towards burning Max token as well. So it's going to help the overall token itself. And that's kind of like the first high level utility within Lotto Max. But we have different ideas of other items that we're going to add to the app as we move forward. We want it to be a little bit more robust, of course, as we move forward to keep the interest and amusement for the community.
Okay, brilliant. And now obviously you have Novation there, which is a product of Vault Finance. Now we've actually personally used this, and it's really brilliant. We much preferred using that than Pink Sale or any other ones. We used another one like Cookie Sales or something like that before as well, which was like not great. But Novation was absolutely fantastic, and there's so many people actually in there in Vault Finance who are looking to jump onto great projects. So it's really nice to see that you are you're partnering up with those guys, and that you're bringing their Novation onto your website here. Could you maybe tell us a little bit actually about the pre-sale for Power that you're going to be putting on Novation?
Yeah, of course. I'll let KP allude to this one. I'll jump to the link here.
Yeah, so for the pre-sale, obviously, we've known Chris and the Vault team for quite some time, since our BSC days. So it only felt natural when we were discussing on how to put this pre-sale together and conduct this pre-sale. Doing a pre-sale for a token, yes. You have plenty of resources to go to, whether it's Gempad, Pink Sale, or Cookie Sale, like you said. But in the end of the day, we needed a bit more flexibility, because those actual launch pads require you to, if you're doing a pre-sale, we expected it's a token. Most of them don't probably offer services for trying to raise a pre-sale for a blockchain coin. So I talked to Chris and I said, listen, I don't want to take away from the experience of a pre-sale and from the ability to create an awesome structured pre-sale in phases that has a platform that gives me the ability to whitelist individuals for their efforts, for supporting our community in certain endeavors, or being, being the most active, or engaging in these fun opportunities for the community to get into a certain phase of the pre-sale. So, is it possible to use Novation for us to at least do the raise? Because obviously, as Power is a blockchain coin. There's no smart contract tied to it. So, eventually, this is going to be, we're looking for an opportunity to have a platform that is easy, user-friendly for individuals to be able to connect to and still engage and partake in a pre-sale, and still for us to do the different tiers and opportunities across all three phases. But obviously, once we're done with the pre-sale, we are going to be direct listing on a CX, because that's where the blockchain coin is basically going to have value. That's where the valuation is going to come from. And then also it provides the on and off ramping for users that are engaging within the chain, trading certain projects. And let's say they're making some profit, and now they want to, instead of, they want to completely, off ramp themselves into fiat perhaps, and our actual Power coin will be paired with USDT on the exchange. Within our actual blockchain, we will actually have a stable coin. It's not going to be a stable coin that we develop a name. It's not going to be an algorithmic stable coin that is trying to hold the dollar value. We are going to take the most popular stable coin out there, USDT, and we're going to bridge USDT into our actual chain. So that way, when people want to stable up from being, let's say, in a certain project that's launched on our chain, they can just go ahead and stable into USDT. So, and then obviously with Power being listed on an exchange and paired with USDT, just makes it more seamless. But obviously, Novation provides that opportunity for us to conduct our pre-sale in a very professional way. We feel very confident in the structure of the and capabilities of a platform. And we also felt like it was, an opportunity for us also to bring them into our blockchain and introduce the sellerless swap, and also Novation as an additional platform for projects to conduct pre-sales and be within that echo chamber of what they're building. So I think it's a win-win situation for both parties, and we're happy with the direction, because like as you said, you've used Novation and I've used Novation for a pre-sale before, and it's very easy to engage with. And we're going to do the pre-sale and do the raise in BNB, and we felt like that was a smart move, and with regards to not it being in Ethereum or because of the gas fees. And I think everybody, for the most part, is happy. So the phase and the pre-sale is going to take place over a month's time. We did launch our campaign with our Glean contests, where individuals can actually sign up and try to, help shield their efforts and refer friends and get the Glean numbers up, and, thus seeing that improvement in community growth. So for people to get whitelist spots, and the first phase will be on June 30th at 1700 hours UTC time. And everybody that is in phase 1, tier 1, which is 150 whitelist spots, will get the first 10 minutes to, partake in the actual pre-sale. If it's not filled within then, the other 100 whitelist spots that are sitting, in the background in tier 2 will then get the option to come in and fill the pre-sale. The pre-sale is extended for a week's worth of time. We don't think it's going to actually take that long for it to fill. So, and then that will conclude phase 1 at a certain price point, which the price point that we're offering at phase 1 is going to be at half a cent, which is 0.005.
I've got a question there about that. Okay, that was actually going to be one of my questions about the phase 1 and phase 2, and you have the tiers in it. So basically, you're looking to fill about 75k for phase 1. And so say if the first 150 people, if they buy up all 75k, what happens to those tier 2 whitelist spots?
So anybody that is in phase one, even including, let's say, tier one and tier two, anybody that does not get a chance to actually partake because, let's say, the pre-sale goes crazy and fills pretty fast, they will move to the very front of the line for the first 5 minutes on phase two. So they will move into the front of the line for phase two. They will get the first 5 minutes and first right of refusal to partake. After 5 minutes, we'll open it up to the tier one whitelist spots that have been building up for phase two. If it doesn't fill by then, we'll open up to tier two. And then by then, whoever out of that entire group there in phase two, it doesn't matter, which group you were in. If you did not get included into it or partake or contribute, you will then basically go to the public sale, which is phase three, which is still at a fairly generous discount compared to what we intend to list PowerCoin at, because it's at 1 cent and our list price is at 0.1.
Yeah, it's 0.002.
0.012. So
higher,
So
that's great.
Yeah. We decided to structure it this way, and another reason for the pre-sale is 100 million PowerCoins, and this comes from our experience. I think the number one complaint that we've had when we used to be in projects trying to go after whitelist spots, back in the day on BSC, or if there was a private sale, or if there was a very that very first sale that offers the most opportune, that entry point, is how many people get to enter there. Like, is it too many? Because then if it's too many, I feel like, if I'm entering, the project at a later stage, that there was a lot of favoritism to it. That's why we've also minimized the amount of PowerCoins we're offering in phase one. It's going to be it's going to be competitive to get into it. I won't lie, but I also want to protect everybody else after that and not make everybody feel that the majority of the coins are being held by so many people that got in on the first entry.
I get you, yeah. And I see that it's essentially going to be 10% of, I guess, the pre-mine supply that is going to be up for the pre-sale. So you're looking at 1.5% in phase one, 2.5% in phase two, and 6% in phase three, which is, of course, the public one. So that's where anyone who didn't get a whitelist spot can jump in at that point. Now, the pre-sale, you're looking to raise 875K, essentially, if you tot up all the numbers between the different phases and the public sale.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, I was wondering about the market cap, because I see over here that at launch, you're going to be burning 450 million, which is 45% of the of power. So how is this going to work? Is it going to be like directly after, say, the public pre-sale? Like, how is this going to work with people? Because your market cap could be, I guess, either 12 million or 6.6 million, depending on where you burn those. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the fully diluted market cap, considering the entire pre-mine supply, will always be what it is. Obviously, with the burn, yes, the market cap will be considered less. It still does not take away from the actual value for the coin itself. I think that's a misconception, right? We've always had this discussion about, like, really, what do burns really actually do for a project? Is it more for optics, or is it really for scarcity? I mean, in our situation, one of the main reasons we are going to burn that much is just because of the consensus that we are proof of work, and we are pre-Ethereum. What was it called? It's on our pre-sale there on what version of Ethereum our actual proof of work blockchain is. But basically, we're not like Bitcoin, where there's a hard supply to be mined and then that's it. By nature, the actual consensus is inflationary. Miners will be mining 5 coins per block, and then that adds to the available circulating supply that is in play. So in order for us to combat that, having a significant burn up front helps put us at ahead of the game with regards of that actual pre-mine supply and reducing it down, because we don't really need that many coins. But also, the bridge, the swap, the farms, the pools, all the fees generated out of those in power, a portion of those fees actually do go back to actually being burnt to combat the inflationary mechanism that comes out of basically mining.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
in the end of the day, the mining though is a static number. It's a fixed number. It's 5 coins per 15 seconds on average. So roughly 28,800 coins per day, roughly 10 million coins per year. With regards to volume in a year's time from all the fees associated. And also, we have a burn mechanism within our staking pool for rewards. 10% of all the rewards earned in power do go towards the burn of power. So, we've set it up in a way where it will combat the actual inflationary aspect of the chain itself, and it will actually keep things quite level, if not turn it deflationary to some extent. So yeah, we are going to burn that 450 million. We may do all of it at once in the beginning, or may just do it within a week or two after launching, just for people to see that, wow,
Yeah, I get people excited. Yeah, I get you.
I mean, especially if we launch at a cent and we're sitting in a couple cents after that, or 4 or 5 cents. I mean, who knows where we are at after launch, but burning an X amount of the at launch $470,000 or $80,000 worth of power coin, it helps get people excited. And but in the end of the day, that we have structured the actual tokenomics of the chain in such a way where we feel like there's no free airdrops, right? A lot of chains and layer ones that do emerge do a lot of free coins in the beginning, just because they want people to have those coins in their possession. And a lot of L1s do launch at very, very, very high overvaluated market caps. Core DAO just did it. Even when Ethereum moved to Merge 2.0 and moved from proof of work to proof of stake, it left a lot of miners out of business. So you had Ethereum Fair and Ethereum W kind of try to step in to fill that void. They launched and overvaluated $5-10 billion market caps. And it just does not make sense. Even Palm Chain and launched at a 340 to 400 million, $800 million market cap was pretty much what they were saying that it was going to be. And all it does is just basically set you up for a major decline of 90 to 95%. And even in Ethereum W and ETH Fair, it's 98% down from actual launch price or their all-time high. So we did not want to do that. We want to be realistic with the actual valuation. The reason of where we have decided the price point is going to be and the actual market cap is because of taking into consideration stakeholders such as miners. Miners are extremely important to our consensus to ensure that the network is secured. We also want to be able to offer them the opportunity that they're mining at a price point of power that is fairly either break even or fairly reasonable, that, oh, wow, there is potential here. This could actually grow. And I definitely want to pre-mine, even though I'm not interested in profits now, but for future profits. So that's an attractive price point for them. It's an attractive price point for developers and projects to come in and get LP early. Especially if there's a chart and a market cap that launches at 10 or 6 million based on what it is on the burn, which provides only opportunity for growth. Because don't forget, every project that is on chain that launches with us has to survive. If we have an overvaluated market cap and we set up our coin to launch where it's going to have to suffer through a 98% decline, and a project buys into that at the very beginning, guess what happens to their chart? Goes down 98% too, which then just destroys everything.
Yeah, you're kind of almost responsible in a way for those other projects, even indirectly. I guess that's the way it is when it comes to blockchains and everyone who builds on top of them. These are the things that can happen. I've seen it a few times before myself. Just in relation to
we were part of that.
Oh yeah, I've been there. You've been there. Yeah, it's a nightmare. It is a nightmare, isn't it? But in relation to the distribution itself, of course, you have it up there on screen. So the pre-launch contest, of course, you have 0.2% right there. With the team wallet, you're vested for a year. That's great to see. The treasury, 24.37%. So what's your plan with the treasury? Is this kind of more incentives and stuff for people to come onto Power?
Yeah, I mean, and Nyan can speak to this too, but if it's a smart way of ensuring that if we do engage in any kind of partnership in the future with, let's say, a very an influencer or somebody that is of certain stature that can help bring a lot of numbers, it gives us the ability to offer, part of the treasury into a deal rather than actually pay them, hard dollars. But it could also give us the ability to negotiate, how those coins are actually utilized. And, in the end of the day, we would not give anything away that would actually hurt the project. I'm only interested in people that do decide to come on board and help further our growth, to have that long-term mindset. So we do decide to, let's say, offer some coins from treasury to a certain marketer or a certain influencer or something like that is going to further the project with more numbers and more visibility and eyes on it. It's going to have to come on our terms, and it's going to have to come contractually as well, not just a word of mouth type of situation. So, and we will actually set any kind of coin allocation on a vested schedule, and they can go ahead and collect their percentage over time. This is where our business experience comes into place. I negotiate for tens of millions of dollars of freight annually with my customers, and there is nothing that doesn't cross my desk that I don't ensure that is always a fair game. So, same thing goes for that allocated treasury. If we have been having discussions with certain venture capitalist firms and certain VCs and incubators that have been very interested in our project. If they want to come in and, fund our project with a significant amount of money, and they want actual coins, well, that's where it will come from. And it will have to be on a vested schedule for not a year, but years to come. And even after that, on a monthly actual schedule, fixed vested schedule of release of coins, to ensure that, it does not inhibit or hurt the chart in any kind of way, and hurt all the users that are part of the ecosystem. So, and you know what? There might come a point in time where after a while, we might even decide that we don't need that much treasury, and we might even burn some. You don't know. But we wanted to ensure that we had that ability for that treasury to be there, but it's strictly used on an as needed basis in order to further the project's growth. And that's it.
Of course, you have to leave your options open, especially starting off. And it is great to see that you have the treasury and also the LP for exchange listings separate, because often you'll see they're both essentially the same thing. So it's good that you have that separated out right there.
Yeah, we've structured it in a way where it said 100 million pre-sale. That is the initial circulating supply plus whatever the LP is for a couple of projects that are migrating from PalmChain over to us, plus the 100 million for the exchanges, which basically is not all going to be in circulation right off the beginning. It will be basically as an exchange gets added and as the negotiated amount of tokens that they require to have, in addition to whatever listing fees they may have or so forth. So, we expect that as additional circulating supply is added off of that exchange listing bucket, comes also with more users that will eat up that supply, right? So that supply will trickle in over time as we expand our footprint in the exchange world, with PowerCoin being listed on multiple exchanges. So, it's just one of those things where, and then, the vested schedule that we have for our team tokens as well, after the full year, it's not going to be all just unlocked and let's go. There'll be, we're going to control how that supply actually is dispersed. In the end of the day, and I'm saying this in the end of the day all the times, but it's all these things that we've learned and lessons that we've seen and been part of, and the experience that we've had, that we have to ensure that the chain is always above everyone else, including us as actual blockchain, overseers.
Yeah. Especially with vested tokens or coins or whatever, some people do get nervous about that, especially coming up to the deadline. So yeah, of course, I guess coming up to those deadlines, you might have to do something like, okay, only maybe 90 million is going to stay vested and 10 million comes out, something like that. I understand.
Right. Yeah. Okay, it's been vested for 1 year, and now the disbursement comes over, and here's the disbursement schedule for the team, 5 to 8% per month over the next, year and a half. That's kind of how we're going to play it out. So we're never going to put ourselves in a position where we provide doubt to the community. We are going to always be as transparent as possible so everybody understands where they are. And that's the only way that this chain will survive. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We don't need to get to where we need to be tomorrow. We're building for the next bull run. So we have a few years to ensure that we that we play our cards right, because that's where we feel that the majority of the growth is going to happen. And if you look at any of the other chains that are successful, that are the big boys, like an Algorand or Phantom or Polygon, you'll see that they emerged in the bear market of 2018, and they went sideways for quite some time before they actually exploded in 2021. But what they were doing is they were doing everything right, and they were laying down a foundation, and they were building confidence within their community, and they were building projects and bringing more projects, and eventually it all came to fruition, and it all actually culminated in a fantastic growth level that they all experienced in the past bull run.
Absolutely, yeah. Building the bear and pumping the bull. That's brilliant. Do you have any closing statements or any things that you'd like to discuss before we leave that we may have not touched on?
Aside from the fact that our pre-sale is offering some very, very generous giveaways, we are offering $10,000 of PowerCoin up for grabs. In phase 1 and phase 2 split at 5,000. $2,500 worth of PowerCoin will be given to 10 different winners. So $250 worth of PowerCoin per person, and then one lucky winner will win $2,500 worth of PowerCoin in that phase, and at the price point of 0.005. So that would be 500,000 power. And in phase 2, we're offering the same value in terms of dollars, but obviously at a higher price point, since it's at 0.008. So you will receive less power, but you will still receive the value for that price point. So there are some fantastic giveaways. So anybody that does actually stumble upon the video and dive into it and wants to come and join the pre-sale, and let's say may not want to be engaged in the Telegram, still try to at least engage with the actual Gleam contest, because it will be randomized, and luck is luck, and you never know, it might strike.
Absolutely. No, this has been absolutely fantastic. Sorry, do you have anything else to say there? Just I might have bumped over you there.
I just wanted to throw in, for anybody that's, taking a look here, that looks at our pre-sale page and whatnot, I highly advise everybody to take a look, go through the website and really understand everything that's put together here. KP and myself, we really wanted to make sure everything here is keeps the community well informed and allows them to really understand everything that we're doing here. We built this so that, developers could come, projects could come and find a section for themselves, as well as the users themselves. We have a section dedicated just to the Max tokens and our ecosystem there. We didn't really touch on Ignite QR, which we believe is an incredible utility that'll be coming from an outside party that KP and myself are actually on the team on as well. Actually, if we can for a couple of minutes, I'll let KP dive into that one quickly.
Please do.
KP, you want to jump into that?
Yeah, so Ignite QR is going to be tied into our Max ecosystem utility tokens, and it's very simple. Essentially, it's just one of those issues that we've encountered throughout years of being part of so many different Telegram groups, and how like an actual project tries to engage its community in order to further, spread the word of mouth about the project itself. And, usually you have to do that on your own accord, right? I mean, somebody will say, here's a tweet, go ahead and smash it, and I'll lock the chat, and I want to see that many likes, and then you do it, and you're like, okay, great, that was it. But it's essentially shill for your bag. Well, what if we decided to change up the game and actually find a solution for a little bit more than just shill for your bag? So Ignite QR is going to be a very robust platform that's going to be geared towards signing up projects, any project on any cross chain, Ethereum, BSC, or MaxxChain. The project itself will be able to actually create a profile. They will be able to actually set up an escrow wallet and deposit.
We're losing KP there.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll keep that going there. So
please do. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically projects will come in and they'll set up shop with Ignite QR, and like I mentioned, this is a separate marketing services company, and they have their dashboard for which they'll have swaps set up for different chains. So a project can purchase a year's worth of services, and basically they can input a certain number of tokens, so as rewards. So let's say what we're doing with Max is we're going to have all 3 Max tokens on Ignite QR. and there's going to be 100 million token allocation from each of the 3 tokens that are in the platform. Now, what users can do is they go into the platform and they'll be able to generate a unique QR code. And for example, if we're going to ask people, okay, you know what, shell your bags, go to Twitter, send out some tweets, they can send tweets with that unique QR code. And individuals that do purchase Max token using that QR code will go through the dashboard on the Ignite. Will go through the Ignite QR dashboard, and they'll be rewarded for every purchase they bring in. So, this really changes the game in terms of other, influencers and even call groups and stuff that, that bring all these people. And you're always wondering, is this actually bringing buys to my project? Well, all of a sudden they can share this QR code and you'll be able to see as a project owner, oh, they actually brought in, $10,000 worth of sales and whatnot, while the people that are actually doing the shilling will get rewarded, and they'll have that motivation to keep going. So we think this is a really cool utility, and we're working with the team there. KP and myself are actually part of the Ignite QR team. So this is kind of the first phase of that development tool. So we'll be looking to grow that as we move forward, and we want to bring that into the MaxxChain ecosystem as well to offer to other projects launching on chain.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a fantastic concept, and it definitely will help in driving getting the word around about the project itself. Yeah, absolutely love that one. Is there any other bits you have to? I think I saw something about a project called Aerospace when I was flicking through the website. I don't know if you know what
Astrospaces.
Astrospaces.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, Astrospaces was a project. Well, Spaces was a project on Palm Chain. They're the developer there, Jonathan. He's an incredible developer, and he actually helped me a lot when I started with PalmX back on Palm Chain. So, I give a lot of credit back to him. He's an incredible person, very nice, and very smart. He can build things, I think, on the back of his hand over a couple hours, and he's the one that is behind the MaxxChain launchpad. So that's going to be the full robust launchpad where people can launch projects and so on and so forth. And he's also behind the project Spaces. And he also has I guess you can call it a social media platform called Astrospaces. So picture kind of like a Facebook type a social media tool, but for crypto projects. So that's currently live for his projects on BSC and Ethereum as well. And we'll have one specifically for MaxxChain where individuals can go on, create an account, and you can post, make posts about projects or whatever you like. And there's all kinds of information for projects. You can even log in and see your reflection amounts, reflection rewards from each of the projects as well. He's got it very intuitive setup there. And we're really looking forward to bringing this one onto MaxxChain as well, because it really ties in the social media aspect within the crypto space.
And in relation to that as well, say the chain, so you're saying it's going to link into MaxxChain. So it's obviously linked on what, Binance and Ethereum or something like that, is it?
Yes, he has different sides to it. So I believe it's like, bsc.astrospaces.com. I'm not sure if that's the exact link, but he has different ones for different chains. And he had one for Palm Chain, which he is currently rebranding for MaxxChain.
Okay, and so is the site, are the people from these different chains able to interact with each other, or is it purely people in your community are going to interact, say, on this chain kind of thing?
They can. So there's kind of like an overall, consensus, kind of like DEX tools. You know how you can look at different chains, but then overall, when you go on the main page, everything is mixed together. So if you have projects on MaxxChain that are, really making, huge volumes, you'll have that come up on the front page. So it's an interesting tool to really cross promote on different chains as well. And have some really nice interactions. And I think this is a really cool product that can really grow.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one thing I actually missed a while ago, I don't know if you call it DU dropper or do dropper.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that? Yeah, that sounds interesting. So go ahead. Go ahead.
DU Dropper is built by Developers United. They're the ones that actually built our staking platform as it is right now. A couple of really cool guys, and they're helping us build a multi-sender for our chain. So project owners that need to do massive airdrops and
Yeah,
whatnot. It'll allow them to do that with MaxxChain.
brilliant. Um, okay, and so MS Portfolio Tracker, I'm looking at it there.
Yes.
I assume you just connect your wallet to that, and it tells you everything about your wallet.
Yeah,
Basically.
exactly. It gives you a more detailed look at it than just on the blockchain explorer.
Okay.
Another cool little app created by the previously Memeshib, and now they're going to be known as MaxxChib on MaxxChain. So I don't think we touched on it, but I think there are about 8 projects that are being migrated over from PalmChain. So that's another cool thing. Once we start mainnet, it's not like we created a blockchain and that's it. We've seen a lot of projects that start like that, and then the blockchain is kind of stagnant. Yeah, it's there, but there isn't any activity. So we're already starting with several projects. We're starting with their communities, and we're already talking to many projects that are interested in launching on chain. So we're gonna try to keep that ball rolling. And our day one, even though it's day one, we're gonna feel like we're already into month 3 in terms of activity and volume and users. So we're really excited to see how that plays out.
Absolutely. It is amazing though to see how much you have before you really get going. Like you have so much here. And the thing about the website as well is just people arriving to this, everything is so clear and well laid out, even though there is a vast amount of information on different products. It's all fairly easy to interact with and to understand. You've done an absolutely brilliant job with that, by the way. Absolutely love this. Really looking forward to the pre-sale. If you have any other things you want to talk about, is this the white paper? Is it?
Well, one last thing I wanted to kind of touch on. Our white papers are actually listed. Our white papers are actually listed here. There's one under MaxxChain, so we have a white paper for the chain itself, and then another one for the tokens. So Max Token white paper. So I invite anybody to take a look at both of those. It's a good starting point to really, get all the high level information, and then of course the website drives down into it. One important aspect, again, for us, we want to help educate, and I put a lot of emphasis into knowledge base. So our knowledge base is a GitBooks page, and it's already extensive as it is, and we're going to look to increase the content as we move forward, have it a little bit more structured, of course, and it's something that I'm working on the side every day. So anybody can come in and kind of read through it. It's very content heavy. But they can get our story about MaxxChain, the ecosystem, the tokens, the tokenomics for everything, for all the tokens, our utilities for the tokens, and then we have a section for developers, testnet information, mainnet details, for developers if they want help on how to launch a token using MaxxPloy, NFTs. Users, setting up your DeFi wallet. We have explanations on market caps, liquidity pools. A lot of people don't understand, the explanations behind some of these terminologies. Some things that we take for granted. I've learned so much in the last couple months that I didn't know before, and I don't think I would have unless I tied into it. So as an investor, I think it's important you have that knowledge.
And this really ties into what KP was saying at the very start, that you really are trying to teach people, more about crypto, how to interact with it and what everything is, instead of just like blindly letting them kind of roll off into it. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, no, it's great to see that you actually have this on the website as well. I didn't actually go into this particular section, but it looks great.
There's information in there also for miners on how to set up a node in order for them to mine and everything as well. So sorry, by the way, I got cut off. My phone.
No, that's fine.
Dying.
Yeah.
I'm back.
That's
on.
Okay.
I assume Nyan finished the Ignite QR explanation.
He did. Yeah, of course.
Okay, good enough.
No, you just stop. We stopped talking. We just moved on to a different subject. No, this is brilliant. I actually didn't even come into this knowledge-based area. Love it, absolutely love it. This is a good place for anyone to just drop into. Even if you just want to know anything, it just seems like you have pretty much everything there. And I assume more is getting added in, as you were saying. Fantastic. Yeah, that's brilliant. Again, I every time I say that you have any more closing statements, you have so much here. Do you want to go through any other bits before we go? Because I'm happy to stay on here for as long as you want.
KP, is there anything here that we didn't touch on yet?
No, I think we've gone over a pretty good summary of a lot of things. I mean, the pre-sale and obviously all the utilities, the partnerships, the value some of the projects are bringing, some of the projects that are already going to be launching, conversations we're having with additional projects that want to launch. I mean, obviously, I think the important thing here is a brand new blockchain project is that, as Nyan said, we're going to start, at mainnet and be well ahead of the curve than probably another typical blockchain that, let's say, launches and their goal is to just get to mainnet, and then what happens after mainnet, whereas we are going to be well ahead of mainnet with the projects launching, and our focus is going to be basically on business development and trying to grow the actual chain itself with projects, community, and developers. We do have two subset groups in Telegram, one that's geared towards miners, so we have all the miners in one area, and then the same thing also for developers. So, we really are trying to set up everything in all the social channels, and gear it up for collaboration. So that way things are happening. And then, there's growth that is starting from day one on the actual chain.
That's brilliant. Okay, so I guess we could close off there. It's been absolutely fantastic having you guys on. You really gave us a great in-depth insight, like what we were looking for at the start. That was brilliant. You have an incredible product in front of you, and I really can't wait for the pre-sale and for it to launch and to see where it goes into the future, especially coming into what I assume will be a bull run midway through next year, ideally. But this is absolutely fantastic. Loved having you. Yeah, brilliant. Thanks so much for coming on.
Well, we appreciate
you guys. We
for
appreciate
your platform. Yeah, thanks for inviting us, and obviously we look forward to doing this maybe perhaps down the road as an update of where we are. So
absolutely, yeah. The doors are always open for you guys. This was brilliant. We'll definitely keep in touch anyway. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Awesome. 100%.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
okay.
All right, thank you guys.
All right.
Thanks, Sean. All right, take care.